December 10th, 2024 regular meeting of the Mason City Schools Board of Education. The board's been in a work session, but we are now ready to convene to our regular session. So the next item on our agenda, if you'd please stand and join me, is the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next item on our agenda, superintendent's presentation.
Yeah, we're going to make a quick adjustment on the order of our presentations just to let the video fire up here in the back. So if we could go down to presentation 2, and then we'll come back to our wayfinding moment. Is that all right? We'll save that for the last, and that will make sense once we get to that. So presentation 2, we have just a great honor tonight. I know Coach Rapp, I'm going to ask Coach Rapp to come forward and be our point person for this. But we have a team of runners who have done some amazing things in the state of Ohio. They are a legacy team. People talk about us everywhere. When I go up to the fort, thank you very much. When I go there and I wear the Mason shirt, people just have a deep respect. They think I'm a coach. I'm not a coach. But I just run around there. I say, Coach, your team is, I'm like, yeah, our team is awesome. Coach is over there. But they do such a great job, and there's so much data and thoughtfulness behind this. And so we want to invite Coach Rapp, who also is Coach of the Year, and also, I believe, retiring at the end of this year. So, Coach Rapp, we're just so grateful to have you tonight. So let's give Coach Rapp a hand. If you would come to the podium. Thanks.
Well, it's certainly my honor and privilege to be here and to guide such a great group of young men. We won our third state title in the last 4 years, and that has not been done at the Division I level. So thanks to these guys and many of the runners that have come before them. They're just 8 of the 75 that we have on our team, and so, but they're the best, and they're the ones who were able to bring home a state championship. And when that happens, we start to go on what we like to call our victory tour, because we get to do things like come to the school board meeting. We get to have a victory parade, thanks to the band for getting us around the school well. That was exciting a few days ago on the victory parade around the school. This year we also had the honor of being invited by our representative Adam Matthews to come to the State House last Wednesday. We went to the State House in Columbus and were given a resolution. I won't read the whole thing because it's got some big words that we don't normally speak, with some whereases and things like that. But it does say, for Ohio House of Representatives, a resolution, Representative Matthews honoring the Mason High School boys cross-country team on securing the 2024 Division I state championship title. And they gave us this resolution from the state legislature. I was hoping I'd have a few minutes to address the legislature on school funding and a few other issues, but they didn't allow me that. I'm not sure why. But it was a great honor to do that. Tomorrow, our 3 seniors plus our runner of the year, Caden Winship, will be joining me on perhaps the most interesting of the victory tour, as we will be going to WLW, Bill Cunningham show, and we will be on the air at 1:30 tomorrow, and so we'll see what that holds. I'm sure Mr. Cunningham will have some interesting things for us there. But let me introduce who's with us tonight. First of all you got to do is give a wave. All right, this is Caden Winship. He is a junior. He is the GMC champion. That makes him GMC Runner of the Year. Was district champion also, and was our #1 runner, finishing 6th at the state meet this year. We've only had 2 other guys in the history of Mason High School finish 6th or better, so Caden was one of them. Right next to him is sophomore Paras Yadav, and next to him is our senior Jason Zhu. Next to him is junior Luke Berkebile. Back row over there is senior Will Buckaloo. Next to him is sophomore Eli Amshoff. Next to him is senior Max Greco, and next to him is freshman Logan Mix. All right, and they 7 of the guys ran. Logan was our alternate, ready to go if needed. What was perhaps most special about that day is that we won by such a margin that if our top 2 guys had not even finished the race, we still would have been able to win the championship. That's how deep and how good each one of these guys were. Also, what makes me very proud of them is that all 7 that ran in the race were given academic All-Ohio honors, which means you have to actually run in the race at the state meet and also have a 3.5 unweighted GPA. And so the guys not only get it done out in the classroom, or out on the course, but they get it done in the classroom as well. Also with us today are a number of our assistant coaches. Interestingly, all 3 of these assistant coaches are Mason Cross Country alumni. First we have Coach Lucas Saygraves and Coach Perry Johnson and Coach Isaiah Kelly. All 3 of those guys ran in the program. 2 out of the 3 actually ran in the state meets with us, and the other one was an alternate there. So man, you can't lose when you've got such a great coaching staff and such great support from starting at the school board and from Dr. Cooper and the rest of the Mason community. Just makes it really, really a great place. And it's not easy to be champions, right, guys? But it's a better situation than most people have in becoming champions. So thank you for everything you do for us to help us win the stuff that we get to win. So.
I think before we let you off the hot seat, Coach, we might have a couple questions to ping you with.
Yeah, so that
Listen to him asking this question
the
as if he doesn't
viewers
know how
can
this
hear you.
goes. He's been here a couple times. He knows how this goes. Coach, congratulations on a fantastic career, both as a coach and as an educator. We can't thank you enough for all the contributions you've made to the legacy of Mason Comet athletics and academics. We'll never be able to repay you. Would you mind kind of reflecting on what it means to kind of go out on top in this way and with this group, just as a professional? Like, what does that mean to you?
Wow, it means a lot, especially with this group. It's probably my most satisfying. I mean, every one of our championships, every one of our seasons have been very special. But this crew came in, coming in from last track season and last season. We graduated a lot of guys. The expectations were not extremely high. And after our first few weeks of training, we weren't very good, were we? And our first couple of meets, we got beat by some teams that don't beat us normally. And we didn't like that, did we? But they stayed with it. They kept believing. Our captains did a great job of giving us good leadership and taking us from, at one point, we had dropped in the polls as low as 9th, which we hadn't been in years that low. And they just kept putting it together, and with our sport, you really only have to be good right at the end of the season, and they figured out how to be really, really good and win by a margin that none of our other championships have ever won by. And so it's a really special group in that sense of how they kept believing, even though it wasn't very pretty early on.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Thanks.
Coach, I'm not a runner by trade or anything, but I would just, from the outside, observe that cross country seems like a sport where it's a battle of attrition, and especially with a team as big and as deep as the Masons has been over the years. You have 75 guys. You mentioned this is just 8 of them, and I'm curious. I would imagine there's a couple that you have a sense that are going to be there from day one to the final day of the season, but everybody's running the same distance. It's not like a track and field where you got different people for different events, or swimming where you got different strengths and strokes and things like that. Can you talk a little bit about maybe whether this season in particular or just over your career, how you've observed just the progression or the evolution of a team from the start to the finish of a season, and maybe guys that have surprised you in terms of where they started, where they finished, how that depth has carried on when maybe some of your top guys have gotten injured, as we've heard some of the more crazy stories in state championship meets past and stuff like that.
I think part of it is that we have somehow developed a culture of everybody does their part. We talk about the team being like a pyramid, and we build from the bottom. You push from the bottom up. If you're the 65th guy on the team, you got to make the 64th guy better. Mm-hmm. If you're the 23rd guy on the team, you got to make the 22nd guy better, and keep pushing from the bottom up so that everybody has a role. That number 75 guy on the team has a role. They're not just kind of taking up space there. And so I think part of that helps the buy-in, so when you get towards the top of the pyramid, it continues in that vein that everyone is seeking to make the guy better because they want that guy's job, and they're keep pushing to be better in that respect. Maybe a good example of it is Caden Winship. Caden, you want to wave your hand again? Caden last year, he wasn't even varsity. He couldn't make our varsity. He wasn't even an alternate. Last year wasn't really on the radar other than, well, maybe he might sneak in to take the last varsity spot, and he winds up being GMC champion, district champion, and number 6 in the whole state of Ohio in 1 year. So Caden figured some things out. All right, we kept him healthy, and you know, he's just a fiery competitor anyway. So guys like that, we have, you know, I could tell stories about just about every one of those guys who have taken some steps in that way.
Very cool.
Coach, thank you for, you know, building these young men into champions, both on the course and on the classroom. You used a word that we love in Mason, culture, and the pyramid, pushing the guy in front of you. What pushed you? What has pushed you? What lessons have you learned that you could maybe share with us as we try to replicate being leaders in the way that maybe you've led to help one another and achieve success?
People are far more important than what the X's and O's. I know that there are a lot of probably some other coaches out there that technically know more than I. They know the physiology better than I do. They might know some of the other aspects of the sport better than I do. But you got to piece that together with the culture, with the human element to it. You can come up with all sorts of charts of paces and things that they should be doing at certain times and strengths and measure this and that, and all those things are very important, and I emphasize those things. But far more important would be the culture. After we had a couple of our first initial rough outing, if you seniors will remember, in the weight room we had a little meeting off to the side. Remember, we sat around in a little circle, and I basically said, you didn't do the job. Right? I said it nicely, but they kind of looked at each other, and I think they kind of looked at it and went, yeah, we didn't do the job. And so that the human element of developing the people and showing them that you care about them as a person helps them also going to buy into whatever else that you're going to buy in. I tell our captains and all through the ranks of our team that the guys that you're supposed to lead are not going to lead unless they think you care about them. So you got to convince them, first of all, that you care about them. To put it in our maybe high school boy vernacular, it takes 10 attaboys for every you idiot. You can't say you idiot unless you've given them 10 attaboys, because they're not going to listen.
Yeah, that's good.
I love it. That was great. You know, you mentioned about a rough start early on, and there's nothing wrong with losing a couple early to motivate you. And the part that I love about these presentations celebrating our kids is it's very easy to sit here and say, wow, we've got some great runners up here, and they've, you know, developed themselves as runners. But really, they've developed themselves up here. I appreciate so much of what you share with them, what you tell them, what you ask of them to figure it out, but to get there. Every good individual is multifaceted. And I'm so glad I can see you've got a team of kids that really, they embrace that concept, and it will be a favor for them for the rest of their lives. So thank you very much.
Well, Coach, again, I think that Mason is kind of synonymous with running, and whether it's because of all of the, you know, nice bike paths and crosswalks and things that have, you know, been incorporated into our communities and stuff, or the turkey trot over the last couple of years, or the culture that you've helped build and that the runners and the other coaches have helped build here. It all plays into it, but we are very grateful to have you be at the helm of the ship, and for the years that you've invested in the district and in our program. And we know that even with your passing of the torch, the legacy that you leave behind is going to be enjoyed by the district and our community for generations to come. So we are very grateful to be able to acknowledge you and to send you out on top here this season. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
We're gonna need like a row on one knee and then another row. Do you guys mind doing that?
Greco and freshmen and sophomores
One
underneath.
layer approach
Come
here,
on,
like
let's go.
you're-
No.
Freshmen and sophomores,
These all
Greco.
three.
Get right in this front. Get right in this front. And then come this way maybe a little bit, or no, not you. Could I get one? Yeah, there we. Okay, there we go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Fantastic. Parents, did you get a shot?
Real quick, I want to thank the parents because, you know, I'm a track parent, so I don't have to chase my kid all over a course. I've watched you guys in admiration. You run probably further than they do, so thank you for your support, not only of our schools, but of your sons and their dedication to what they love. So thank you, guys.
Hear, hear.
All right, I'm going to move us to our third presentation, and then we'll wrap back around for our number one presentation for this evening. So we're going to turn it over to, I believe, Avius Jackson, Jason Sleppy. If you want to, however you have that organized, I'll leave it up to you guys. But we have the National William Mason Marching Band here tonight, and some representatives. And so we oftentimes, we have our state champions here. Our marching band, I believe, how many state champions in a row? Probably 15, 20? 10.
This year, right? Yeah.
Okay, 10 in a row. That's good. I'll mention that to the girls' tennis team. I think, what are we at? 8 in a row for the girls' tennis team? All right, I'll give them some goals out there. So 10 in a row for our William Mason Marching Band, and then they go and just make a beautiful performance at Lucas Oil Stadium at the national level. And I know I'm biased, but I believe they are the best performing band around. But I also know there's a whole conversation around how they judge all the bands at the national level. But we're still getting our word out there, because I know there's other conversations about how people loved your show and how fun it was to watch. So talk to us a little bit about the process this year, and congratulations.
Yeah, sure. Our season wrapped up November 16th this year, so that was the Grand Nationals they was talking about. And it was great to have you out there, and Ben Brown from the high school and Brandon Rompies were both out there watching us, which was really cool, and the kids enjoyed being able to see, you know, people from Mason, other than just our band people, come out to the performance. But it's a whole lot of work, and marching band's a long season. It starts really back in May when we have our first rehearsals, and we go through the summertime and have band camp, and then our fall season happens, and then we wrap up in November. But the success is simple. it is not something that's complex, but it's not easy. And I think that's the biggest thing to take away from it, is that when people ask us, why is the band great and why is all these things? And it's a formula, and it's something that's simple, but we don't take it for granted. It takes lots of support, starting with the school board, starting with the administration, working through our talented staff, both the band directors that are here and the outside staff that we bring in to work with our students. It has to do with, or we need the support from all of the parents in the community to make it work. And then with all of those supports, we're able to build a space for all of our wonderful performers to go out there and really achieve things that are just astounding to watch. When you see these bands that are in Grand National Finals, they're from all over the country, and they're the best at what they do. Even though they rank them 12-1 in the finals, all 12 of those bands are just absolutely phenomenal. And it's really cool the way they bill that final performance too. We have a director's meeting right before that too, and their number one thing is celebrate this moment. Like, this is a moment that all of these kids, thousands of kids that are in the finals, have worked so hard for, and celebrate it. Yes, there's going to be scores in a competition, but it's really a great opportunity to celebrate what they do. At the end, they also get to break ranks. They put all the bands on the field. So all 12 bands are in these little rectangles on the field, and at the end of the awards, they say break ranks, and that's where all of the kids just get to mix together. You have all of these different costumes that everybody's wearing. It's all just mixed together, and they get a great opportunity to connect with people from around the country doing what they're doing. There's people from Florida, people from sometimes like California and Utah, and all these different places. So it's really cool to see them connect. I did want to give one little chance to one of our drum majors. We have our drum majors here. We have Hannah, Livy, Mike, and Jeremy here. They're the ones that conduct the band, and they're also our foremost leaders, but I want to give her just a second to talk a little bit about her season as well. So this is Hannah.
Hi everyone, I'm Hannah. I'm a senior this year, so this is my last year, so it's been really bittersweet, and it's been really, really cool to see how the program has really formed over my 4 years. This season was super cool because it was kind of like something we've never done before. It was really interesting because we took like the theme of Looney Tunes and we turned it into a marching band performance, like Elmer Fudd hunting the rabbits and all that. And it was really, really cool seeing it from my perspective, getting to conduct the band and seeing them all do their little shapes and all that. And I'm just really thankful for the band program in general. I learned all my people skills, I learned my leadership skills, and it's due to this program that I get the chance to practice them. And they're gonna be all my friends I've met, all the stuff I've learned, I get to use for the rest of my life. And I think it's super, super cool to see that. And I know it probably comes with a lot of programs too, but I think the band culture has just been really cool because it's pretty much like a 6-month season. So being together that often is just really cool because you see all these friendships form that last a lifetime. And I'm just eternally grateful for the marching band program. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you all for joining us tonight. We probably would love to have all 4 of our drum majors take the podium and pepper you with some questions if you guys would be willing to step up there. Yeah.
I have a question. So it was a different show, as you said, Hannah. At what point in preparation and at what point in competition, as you rolled out the different segments of the show, and maybe even before you put it all together, but what was the moment where you realized you had a really awesome show on your hands, that this was clicking and it was going to be something special this year? Was there a particular moment?
Yeah, I think personally for me, it was the first time we were in uniform. We normally save our uniform reveal for the first our first home performance. That was our Mason Invitational. And was that the Mason Invitational? Yeah. And so it was really cool because we do it at nighttime, so we could see under the stadium lights. And just seeing like the part of the show we had put together under the lights for the first time was really, really cool. And we had never performed in front of that big of a crowd yet. And so hearing all the reactions, because the whole point of the show is to make people laugh and have a good time. So getting to hear all those reactions was super cool. And I think that's when I was like, this is going to be really fun.
That's awesome. I think it's funny. I was sitting in the audience, and I think this year, I heard some of those responses even more than I have in the past, of people just being blown away by. I heard them saying how much fun it was. You could tell that people were excited to watch it. They're always glad to be there and glad to see the Mason Band, but this year people just had a lot of fun. So I saw that in action from my perspective too. So that's great. Thank you.
We know that to get as far as you guys get every year, that it takes a ton of people and a ton of effort, but it also typically doesn't run perfectly smoothly. And I'm wondering if each of you, or if any of you, have a particular like behind the scenes, crisis story that not too terrifying or whatever, but something maybe funny or entertaining that you could share with us that maybe didn't get to see when you were performing out on the field.
Yeah, we definitely do have one. Actually, October 15th was the day. And we wrote it down. We have this little drum major book that we passed down. It's kind of a tradition. We wrote down October 15th is the cursed day. We have this huge center podium that Hannah stands on. She's our head drum major. And we call it the Beast. The Beast was nowhere to be found.
Wow.
Like, this thing is huge. It's probably like 6 by 5 feet, and it disappeared out of thin air. We were looking everywhere for it. We spent probably 3 hours at rehearsal just searching everywhere. We had all the people who actually helped move the props. They were kind of like just taking a little rest break in the middle school gym. So we were like, we got to get a search rescue team together. Like, we need your help to find this podium. And finally, after a couple hours, Mr. Sleppy saved the day. He went and unlocked one of the, like under the stadium tunnel, he went and unlocked one of those big gates, and it was sitting there. We finally found it, but
Thank goodness.
October 15th.
Glad it was October 15th and not November, whatever. Your way to Indianapolis.
So first of all, shout out to the parent pit crew. I love, like, every time I see the parents and the way they support you guys, it brings a smile to my face, and how they make sure that you guys are set up, and how integral they are to your program and your success. How do you guys manage it, right? So you don't have to give away any secrets. You practice for 6 months. And like, it's almost like exactly after school starts and you guys go into November. It's such a commitment. Like, I know you have to love it, but how do you find the work ethic? I mean, you guys have a incredible work ethic to be able to pull this level of intricacy and precision off. So talk to us about that.
Yeah, I think especially as the season goes on, it can get repetitive. And I think that's where one of the great things that we have at Mason, specifically with our band program, is we've created a leadership system where we prioritize people creating the bonds within their instruments. So the trumpets know each other very well, the clarinets know each other well. And so in creating this bond, not only between people of the same grade, but people in the same instrument, people who play the same parts, we kind of create it so that you have friends wherever you look in the band. And so especially as the season goes on, you get a lot of support, especially from those returning members. I remember my freshman year, I had a lot of support from not only the directors, but also a lot of the seniors who had taught me everything were that kind of a push to finally get to that final performance at Indianapolis. And just having that system in place where we are all kind of pushing each other forward, I think is one of the big reasons we're able to have that success at the end of the season.
What's that feel like to be on that stage at Grand Nationals, and you're in Lucas Oil, bright lights, and to know that you guys are one of the best bands in the country? What's that day? What do those performances feel like?
It's a very big stadium, so that always takes a bit to get used to. But it's also it feels, especially after that last performance, there's a lot of crying because people are, especially with the seniors and all the grades, we've gone through this entire season. And after that final run, we're finally done with all of that. We are finished this experience together. And so as we get to that moment, you start to feel bittersweet, and it's just such an amazing moment to feel that joy that you've put your best foot forward. And especially even when you're just walking around and people who you are from halfway across the country are saying they loved your show or they loved who you were, it's a rewarding experience overall.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That's incredible. I can see the bittersweetness, and I remember high school, and there's just things you have to leave there. You don't get to go back and do again, but it stays forever in your heart. How are you going to fill that void as you move forward after high school? Are you continuing band in college? Are you have another opportunity? What are your thoughts?
So while I'm not
necessarily continuing the full marching band experience in college. I think it's brought out a love for music that I enjoy. So even if it's like in a pep band or some mini version of like a community band in college or even after, it's kind of created that love for music in me especially. So even if I know we're all going into different career paths ourselves, but I think that love for music is still that's probably the lasting impact. And the leadership experience I think that we've had is especially something we want to be able to bring to our world, especially as we start to move into this later stages of life where we're creating more permanent relationships and all. I think that's probably the most lasting impact that we want to bring from our marching band experience. It's just that thing that we found that we love so much, and being able to take what we've learned and use it for even more positive good as we move forward.
That's great. And good luck to all of you.
Well, thank you again for joining us tonight. Congratulations, and again, thank you to the parents for supporting all of our band members and for getting in on the act yourselves. We know that we couldn't pull it off without lots and lots of parent support and time hours and things like that. So we are very grateful to have you guys representing us at the national level every year, and we'd love to have you guys come down, shake your hand, give you some parting gifts, and maybe get a picture too.
Hey, great job up there, guys. Thank you, Sean. Zach, thanks for being here. We appreciate it.
Maybe we have the students stay in the front. Sure. Maybe Anna, you're the tallest. And then we're gonna have the others like, yeah, that's good. And then, or you, maybe don't, you're gonna need to shift, I think, down, like, well, here, like, you come like, yeah, and then, there you go. And then Zach, come maybe this way, and then, there we go. Yep, that works.
You know formations well.
That's right. 1, 2, 3. Congratulations. Well done.
You're very welcome.
Congratulations. Well, what a delight. We have one more final presentation before we get on with the rest of our agenda tonight, and I appreciate everyone's patience. It's a little longer superintendent presentation tonight, but there's so many great things to celebrate this time of the year, and we're just so grateful for the legacy work that we have heard about already tonight, and I am just so thrilled to move forward into this last presentation. This is a legacy trailblazer that we are going to be thinking about tonight and honoring. So I'm going to turn it over to Tracy for our wayfinding moment for this month.
As the first woman of color to serve as the principal and the first person of color to join the district's executive team, Tanya McCall's journey has redefined what leadership looks like in Mason City Schools. With a steadfast commitment to building community, nurturing potential, and championing equity, she has inspired countless students and staff to dream bigger and reach higher. Her legacy isn't just about being the first, though. It's about ensuring she isn't the last. Through her dedication, mentorship, and vision, Tanya McCall has lived every kid every day and has made Mason City Schools a place where every child and every staff member knows they belong.
In Mason City Schools, where inclusive excellence and comic culture are our foundation, one leader has shattered barriers and opened doors for others to follow. Meet Tanya McCall, a trailblazer, an impact player, and a servant leader. Her legacy isn't just about being the first. It's about ensuring she isn't the last.
When I think about Tanya, I think of her courage, I think of her strength, I think of her resilience, and also her patience. Tanya came into Mason at a time when we were growing, at a time when things were changing so rapidly, and she had the courage to step forward into leadership as the first woman of color at Mason Middle School. And then later on, she had the courage to step into district leadership as the first woman of color. And those steps were huge, both for Mason as well as for Tanya. I also think of her determination as well as her patience. I looked at a definition of patience, and it talked about having unyielding conviction. And Tanya had this unyielding conviction to make sure that every kid, every day, that kids mattered, that her staff mattered, that she accessed their voices.
I really appreciate how Tanya has been such a mirror in leadership. In Mason, seeing her lead as a principal, a strong, empathetic woman of color, had such a positive impact, and even how I saw myself in possibilities of being the leader. I really get excited about the way that she shows a range of leadership, whether it be a moment where she is quietly and intently listening in, or whether she's strategically placing people in roles that are going to continue the impact and ripple out support. I've had the benefit of being able to observe her from afar as a new teacher, as well as being able to stand shoulder to shoulder with her in meetings where we're looking at supporting educators of color, and seeing themselves as educators, as leaders, and what that looks like as a pathway forward.
You know, for Tanya, no job was too small, nothing was beneath her. She never felt she was above anybody else. She would sit there, I mean, it could be as simple as if there was a meeting, she would sit there and start cleaning things up, or even in the summertime when there was files and information that needed to be put away, she'd drop what she was doing and she would sit there and take the time and assist to help out in making sure that things were taken care of and were done.
Tanya's leadership was the epitome of professionalism. And without a doubt, I know that that was a contributing factor to the sense of community that we feel here at Mason Middle School. During her tenure, she hired a lot of us here at the middle school. And so a lot of us were growing as educators and, kind of figuring out the way, and we were able to lean into her. And at the same time, she taught us to lean into each other. I think that she always exhibited a sense of calm, day in and day out. She may not have been feeling that way all the time, but she never wavered. And I think that is exactly why you would hear people refer to her as our fearless leader, and the sense of community that we have here is because of those things. So we have McCall's Cafeteria because they wouldn't let us change the sign out by the road to McCall's Middle School. And I'm fairly certain Tanya's humble self would not have allowed that to happen anyways. We christened the Cafeteria once we returned back after the renovation to our building. Someone had that idea, and I think it was because Tanya had poured a lot of time and decision-making and work into the planning and execution of the construction. But once we were split between the two buildings and then we returned home together, she wasn't with us at that point, so it was a way to sort of give a shout out to her work and dedication, but also to acknowledge her legacy for her leadership here in our building.
However, it is I, on take 1 billion of this video, try to say congratulations as you march toward retirement, hard-earned, well-deserved, and to say thank you for who you are and what you've been able to do as a result of who you are. I'm sure folks are lining up around corners to talk about how impactful you've been as a colleague, a friend, a mentor, a leader, and I can say you've been all that and more as a mom. Man, life full of seasons, am I right?
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
No.
even though we'd like to have a little more control.
We would, Ashley.
As a mom. Man, life full of seasons, am I right? And I'm so glad that you are stepping toward another season, even without all of the answers and everything worked out, in the same way that you have led with faith as your foundation and the Holy Spirit guiding your steps and God in control all the way, even though we'd like to have a little more control. You know? Just do the darn thing. Can't wait for this next season. I don't know what it's gonna hold. And neither do you. Scary, right? But God does, and it's gonna be awesome because He has placed something in you that no one else has. And I'm excited to see how He's gonna use it in this next part of your journey. Love you so much. Congratulations.
Hey Mom, it's me, your favorite daughter. I know we don't say it out loud. First of all, congratulations on your retirement. I love you dearly. My life would not be anything without you. I'm so extremely grateful to have a mom like you. You've inspired me to be so much more than I could ever see for myself. You constantly challenge me to push beyond the limitations that I see for myself. You help me see that even though the solutions that I may be thinking of are there's always more options. You know, you help me think outside the box, be a better person, be a bigger person, lead with love, and trust God through the process and through the ups and downs that life just constantly brings. I really love and appreciate you more than words could ever express, and I hope that this retirement is just going to bring you peace, joy, love, and happiness, and I can't wait to see this next phase of your journey.
Tanya, we love you. You heard that throughout the presentation. Thank you for putting that beautiful wayfinding video together. That'll be a wonderful keepsake for Tanya and all of us to document your beautiful journey here in your leadership and the influence you've had on all of us. I know many people came out to support you tonight, and many have inquired about when is the big celebration and the dance, and that will be at the end of this year, because Tanya is going to be taking a small little break for a second, and then we're going to have her back for a little bit to do some consulting to get us through the rest of this year, because we would be lost without Tanya. So, Tanya, thank you. We will have some time at the end to thank you and address some other things, but I just want, on behalf of our team, the board, the district, our community, we love you. We're just so grateful for your leadership. So, thank you.
Do you think before we move on, we probably want to share some thoughts with everybody here before we let you
turn it over to you.
Tanya, I'll just start to say, like, it's really cool when you see a video like that. I mean, first of all, you've got to be so proud to see all those folks coming out and your daughters speak so kindly and so personally in support of their mother. What's really cool is that I think that anybody watching this video who knows you can just feel all of the words that were said, and they know they've had that same experience with you from whatever vantage point they've had a relationship with you. And so I've been on the board for going on 11 years, 13 years off and on, and I would just say your steady leadership. I mean, that's the thing that I think is the key one of the keys of value that you bring to the district. If you have leaders that are up and down with everything that comes our way, and we're kind of going left and right, we could be out in left field. But with your steady leadership and bringing us back to center, to your mantra that has become the mantra of the district of every kid every day, you as much, if not more than anybody else, have helped us stay a steady course in Mason towards excellence, and like you've taught us every kid every day. And so we'll never be able to thank you enough, except to say congratulations and a well-earned break. We can't wait to see where life takes you. Thank you, Tanya.
Tanya, I think I was first on the board. You were still at the middle school for a minute before you ascended to your role that you're in now and getting ready to retire from. And I've just been, in my 7 years on the board, so impressed by the professionalism that you carry yourself with, the insights that you bring to some high-level sensitive discussions and decision making that impacts everybody in our district. And having you in the role that you're in now has been invaluable to me as a board member, but also I think to our whole school community. And so it's been a great experience to learn from you and to just walk beside you, to kind of see you process things and bring your perspective to sometimes challenges that you find solutions and suggestions to things that I would not have otherwise thought to look at it from the angle that you do. So very, very grateful for the time that I've gotten to share with you as a board member, and am very excited for your next season and well-earned respite before you come back and help us out.
I think I'm the only one up here that got to experience you as the principal with their kids. You did?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Good. I'm not alone. It was really good, and getting to experience the 360 of who you are from a parent perspective, and now as a collaborator has been, I don't know, it's helped me see you and who you are. I think we think about legacy, and we think we have to do great things, and we ultimately do, but you do great things every day, and that's you, and it's who you are, and that's how you approach life. And we are made better because you're here. Being the first at anything is a scary, scary thing. It comes with its own pressures. It comes with its own fears, and you have handled them with such grace and beauty and intelligence and fierceness that you can see your impact through everything. It was funny because one of those photographs, one of your students, who's my daughter, you hired her into this district and mentored her. So I just, as everyone said, there's not enough words, but you have left your legacy all over this district, and well done. I mean, that's really the only thing I can think of, and thank you for being you. So thank you.
Oh, I've seen so many things with you, Tanya. I remember when you first started at MMS as the principal in the old building on the other side of the street. We went through some things there. It was great. I've seen you at your greatest, obviously. I've also seen you at your worst, chili. Yeah, you touched everything. You touched almost everything around you regarding our school and our students, because you knew how important all the details were to the big picture. Someone mentioned patience from you. It's true. You were so patient, but you weren't the kind of patient that stepped back and let everybody do what they needed to do or were going to do and be uninvolved till it was settled and then walk back in. No, you had your hand on it. You are a masterful leader. I hope that you know that. I think that you probably do, but you are a masterful leader. You get people on your team that you know, they may have been long shots for somebody else. They may not have gotten them to come around, but you're like that with our kids, our students. You're like that with our parents and our community. And it is so important. You have made yourself a stellar icon in Mason. You're an example that so many people are going to hold. They're going to hold the bar up, and it's going to be picture of Tanya. What would Tanya do? There's a lot that you have done here. And I was going to mention to Jonathan, we had some conversation earlier about, well, gee, you know, you could probably get Tanya to come back as a consultant. I didn't know he was planning that, but I'm glad he is, because that was what was going through my mind before. There isn't anyone better to come back and help us out, because you have the perfect vision and you know how to carry it out. And it's Mason, you are a key part of our culture. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Thank you.
I do feel like I owe all the people that spent the evening with us to at least say a few words. And although, you know, this is my least favorite thing to do, I appreciate all of you. One of the things that I think has been essential for me is that I have been a very fortunate person that I have always loved what I've done. I might not have liked it every day, but I have loved what I've done. So as a part of that, I think you have to love the people that you work with. You have to love the purpose of what you're doing. And I've been fortunate enough that I've been in situations, even starting in teaching, that I've always had that privilege. And most people don't get that in their lifetime. So I consider myself just extremely fortunate to have that experience. Connie mentioned something else I think is really important, is I have had some phenomenal teams over the years. I would be foolish to think that, you know, as people say, you know, you've done great work, but I've never done great work alone, ever. People saw things in me very early and supported me, and therefore that allowed me to grow, and they encouraged me. And so my goal was always that I wanted to do that for other people. And so I hope that my leaving here, that I have done that for other people. I've encouraged people, I've encouraged them to grow, I've supported them, so that it is a ripple effect and that stays forever. And so if you have that opportunity to be that for someone else, I hope that you are able to do that. So thank you for giving up your time and energy tonight to spend at a board meeting. I know that's what you wanted to do tonight. So I feel especially privileged. And thanks for the kind words in the video. That was a great shock, although Tracy got busted in my office today taking pictures, which was kind of funny. Scared me to death. So I was like, something's going on. But I had no idea that this was it. And yes, for those people that are in the middle school, there will be a party, because you know I like to dance. Not very great at it, but I love to dance. So we will do that this spring, and I hope that you'll join me. Thank you.
All right, well, that concludes our superintendent's presentations, and before we move on to our next agenda item, this is a time in our meetings where we typically take a pause and let those of you who have come just for the superintendent presentations move on with your evenings if you so choose. So we'll take a brief pause and let those of you who'd like to exit stage left do so. Thank you.
Have a good night. Thank you. Thank you. Be good.
Do you have questions for us? Or do questions for? All right, the next item on our agenda is item number 6, hearing of the public. Tracy, do we have any tonight?
Nothing tonight.
All right. That brings us to item number 7, resolutions. Do I have a motion?
Second?
Any discussion?
The resolution on tonight is actually a resolution to partially suspend Board Policy KGB for the purpose of hosting our Mason Schools Foundation 16th Annual Gala in the new renovated Dream Center at the high school. So we are suspending the portion that we could serve wine and alcohol at that event responsibly for that evening so that we could host it here, which is actually first time we've tried that, and this would only suspend it for that one event. And it's not something that we're opening up for all events, but our Mason Schools Foundation is the one event that we are considering this for.
Thank you, Jonathan. Any other discussion? All right, hearing none. Sean, please call the roll.
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
Mr. Orr?
Yes.
Mrs. Yingling?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Oro?
Before we move on to the next item on our agenda, I want to, let's see, go back to the opening of our regular session. Sean, did we have some minutes to approve from August and September?
We do have a couple on there, yes.
All right, can we go ahead, can I get a motion to approve the board minutes that are listed there in section 4?
So moved.
Second.
All right, any discussion? Okay, Sean, please call the roll.
Mr. Orr?
Yes.
Mrs. Yingling?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
Oro?
All right, back on track. Item number 8, policy change recommendations. This is a first reading of board policies that have gone through our policy committee. Jonathan, do you want to discuss those a little bit?
Yeah, just really briefly, the policy that is listed here, if you are watching this and you're curious about the different policies, you should be able to link into those through our board docs application. If you have trouble accessing those updates, please let us know. We are happy to help. Reach out to myself or Angie Ingen, my executive assistant, and we can walk you through those. The first reading is a purpose that the policies have all gone through the process, which is a review from the executive team, a review from our policy committee, which has board members that are part of that, and then the recommendation for this first reading. The next reading will be in January, so the second reading will be where we actually vote to move these forward. The majority of the actual policies are adjusted. Majority of policies are adjusted because of legislation that's been changed. So when language is changed in law, we go through and make sure our policy aligns with the law. And then once they are approved in January, then we go back through and we update our administrative guidelines. And to make sure our administrative guidelines is the way that we actually carry out the policy. So that's kind of the next steps in the process after January. So that's the policy for today. So there's no voting today, but it is a first reading to put everyone on alert that they can read this and let us know if they have any questions.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thanks.
Item number 9, superintendent's recommendations, personnel items. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
The personnel, hold on a sec, let me just click on here to get this up. Yes. Give me 1 second, Charles. My computer is updating one thing at the same time.
Christine's over here if you need her to come do.
If you could come over and update my
Been call a
computer
friend
too.
all day.
She's
Thank
babysitting, so
God
I
for
mean, you
Christy.
know.
It's now moved over to mine. Okay.
Monster.
I'm sure it's all timed.
Gremlin.
All right, let me walk through what I have here. So, the personnel items. Here are a couple highlights really quickly that I have just called out. Section H. These are just for anyone watching this. These are all of the personnel decisions that are made between our last meeting and this meeting. We're recommending people to move forward either in hiring purposes or adjustments to their salary, or maybe people are taking. They've let us know they're retiring. So in Section H, you'll see we have 11 new substitute teachers. So thank you so much for Tanya and the team continuing. We have the most substitute teachers I think we've ever had on roster, and our fill rate is at the highest we've ever seen. So we're just so grateful for that. So continue to reach out if you'd like to sub in our district. It's a great place to substitute teach. Section B or IB is a section that is a correction. We did the stipends for the reading, science of reading. The last time, I think it was, Dr. Brennan, is that right, or the 2 times before? And we just caught one thing that needed to be adjusted, so we made that adjustment on this. You'll see that in your personnel recommendations. In section L, we do have some legacy. I mean, all of our folks are legacy players, but every month we're seeing more and more people that are giving their notice for retirement. So we have Cindy Donnelly, who, if you recall, she came here a little over 20 years ago and pitched an idea to the Board of Education to start our very own bank in our high school. And so Cindy Donnelly is on here for retirement into this year. Carol Lehman is also on here. She is one of our teachers. I was just talking to a student the other day and said, you know, what is one of your favorite classes? And by far in the student's mind was Mrs. Lehman's class, and just the interaction that they get in there and the learning that happens. So, and then tonight you saw Tom Rapp, Coach of the Year for Cross Country State of Ohio, head coach, also state champion, and I believe he was also a champion runner in college as well. We didn't ask him that tonight, but we'll have to go back and look at our facts. Yes, yeah. He is retiring as well at the end of this year, not just from cross country, but also from teaching. So there are several others that are going to come up for retirement.
Regina Baran was in the video dancing.
And she was also in the video
in the
dancing.
wayfinding video dancing.
So there's just more and more people are coming forward, and these people are people that have made huge impacts, whether it's a program they've started or the work they're doing or dancing and contributing to a video, which I see her every week on our 5 on Friday because she's at beginning the dancing. So we're just so grateful for their investment and career that they dedicated to us and our community and our kids. Section P, W, and AD are all folks that are coming on board, whether through supplementals or non-district funded positions, to give our kids above and beyond extraordinary experiences, whether it's in athletics or clubs. And so get a chance to look at those each month, and we're so grateful. We were talking to one of our students today, and one of the biggest challenges they have is there's so many choices that are great choices they want to be a part of, and they have to select that. But it's a great, I guess, challenge to have, is so many great choices, and it's because of our staff that's coming on board and supporting. Section AC, these are teachers who are paid through the universities to host student teachers. So that whole pipeline of bringing teachers in, we have a great pipeline of student teachers because of our teachers being mentors. So we're so grateful for that and our partnerships. Section AF is the marching band and color guard. They continue their work. So not only do they work really hard already, but they're continuing that work, and you'll see that, right? And then Section AG is the last one I'll highlight for tonight, but that's the Dream Center. We've talked about the Dream Center staying open after hours because there's such a demand from our students. And so this is approving site managers to keep that open in the after hours for our students to continue their collaboration in our Dream Center with our coffee shop and other things going on here at the high school. So there's many more things on there, but those are the ones I'll highlight for this evening for y'all.
Thank you, Jonathan. Any other discussion? All right, Sean, please call the roll.
Mrs. Yingling?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
Mr. Orr?
Yes.
4-0.
Item number 10, superintendent's recommendations, action items. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Tonight on action items, we have the Coca-Cola contract. I don't know if, Sean, if you want to highlight anything on there for this evening.
Sure. Our Coke contract was up for renewal. It's a 5-year contract. The last one was, and this one is as well. Grateful for Coke and Pepsi. Both came in with strong bids, and also thanks to athletic department and the student nutrition department for Scott and Tom and Rachel, all working through the process with Coke and basically coming to an agreement where we are renewing up with Coke for 5 more years. So we're grateful to have them on board, and this will take care of us for the next couple years.
That's great. The next item on here, action item B, is the 24, 25, 25, 26, 26, 27 academic calendars for approval. That has gone through our negotiation process, and then it's gone to our calendar committee. I see Maria Miller here tonight. We have a committee that comes together that works hard on putting in action the words from our contract so that we can make sure we have a calendar for people. So we're so grateful for that committee's work and for the collaboration to move forward. And there are some new things on our calendar that we will highlight over time with our families to help them understand. We've already started some of that work in terms of how do we use our personalized learning days purposefully, and some of our PD we started to look at some of the structures for that, and we're excited about some of the new opportunities that we have moving forward with our calendar. So that's also on here for approval tonight on item B.
All right, thank you, Jonathan. Any other discussion? All right, Sean, please call roll.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
Mr. Orr?
Yes.
Mrs. Yingling?
Yes.
4-0.
Item number 11, superintendent's new course recommendations. This is a first reading. Jonathan, you want to discuss this one?
Similar to our policy, this is a first reading, so if anyone has questions, there are 3 course proposals on here. I want to give credit to Dr. Brennan and her team, Dr. Buemiller as well, that put a lot of time and investment with our teachers. Our teachers come forward with ideas. They work closely with them. Those ideas are proposals that come through our Student Achievement Committee. We have board members on there to review that, ask questions. And the 3 that we have is American Sign Language 3, which is exciting for our students. They've wanted this course, and we're so excited to bring this back. We have AP Environmental Science is a new course, and that's been a really exciting one that people have talked about, but now we're able to deliver that, and we have teachers that are excited about that. And then Cybersecurity Pathway courses. So our cybersecurity program launched this year. We had a great response, and we're going to continue that on into the future. And so I just say that again out loud. We have high school students taking cybersecurity courses, getting certified in cybersecurity to move forward in the future in some of these course offerings. So and our staff has stepped up in big ways to offer new things for our students. So thank you, Dr. Brennan and your team. But this will come back around in January for a vote.
Awesome. Thank you, Jonathan. Item number 12, Treasurer's Report. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
So on the agenda tonight, we have the monthly financial reports for the month of October. The other thing we do have on there is our donations, and while we have donations every month, one thing I will call out this month is if you've been in the community, you may have heard of the program, the Community Holiday Help Program. It's a joint program. I know Tracy and TJ and a lot of people here in the district have been working really hard on that. Casey Moran, Brian Moran, their team, also the City of Mason, the Kiwanis Club. So there are a couple large donations on there to this Mason or the Community Holiday Help Program. A big one from Kiwanis and also from Joshua's Place. So the goal was basically to reach, Tracy, correct me if I'm wrong, I want to say it was around 800 kids that we're trying to.
We ended up having 830.
830 kids. So really amazing program. So I'm grateful for, I mentioned a couple, but there's other people on here as well who are donating to Community Holiday Help, and that's just what we had as of last month. We'll continue to have more of those this month, and we'll see those on next month's donations. So again, grateful to all those people and organizations who are helping provide experiences this holiday season for kids in the community.
Awesome. Thank you, Sean. Any other discussion? All right, hearing none. Sean, please call the roll.
Mr. Galvin?
Yes.
Mr. Orr?
Yes.
Mrs. Yingling?
Yes.
Mr. Steele?
Yes.
4-0.
Item number 13, committee reports. We had a Arts and Activities Council meeting.
I don't know if, Tanya, were you able to make it to the Arts and Activities? I think you were. I was just giving you time to find. I saw you finding your notes.
Got to write it down. Yes. So Arts and Activities, we had, actually, Band and Winter Guard brought several proposals for us. Really, one of the big things that they brought that I thought was really important is a timeline for us to be able to walk through in preparation for shows for them for in the future, so that the council would have plenty of time to review the information, ask questions, and if there are things that need to be adjusted, we could go back and have discussion about that. So that was a really rich conversation. They also did the same thing for Winter Guard, brought the proposal for their timeline, and the committee approved that. In addition to that, we approved overnight trips for Winter Guard, and I feel like there was somebody else. Well, that's one I can remember. And then there's a new club at the middle school, Bollywood. So they are very excited about that. So those were our agenda items.
Awesome. Thank you, Tanya. Diversity Council.
We had Dr. Brennan actually presented with her team on kind of our charting your path and our learner-centered systems of support, and got some feedback really on a deep dive at looking at our state report card data and thinking about it through the lens of inclusion and equity and looking at our subgroups. It was really helpful for our team to kind of look at that. And then we had some time to consider a new family experience that we're trying to get off the ground. We actually have interviews later this month for multilingual family mentors, and Dr. Jordan shared kind of the framework that we're thinking for that, and then just got some feedback from our team about our interview questions for that.
Awesome. Thank you, Tracy. Mason Schools Foundation.
I was sitting here thinking to myself that I was in Tanya's position. I'm like, we've discussed a whole lot of things at Mason Schools Foundation since, but I'm, Matt, what would be the number one thing that we did in our last meeting? We've had so many.
Passed a resolution for the gala.
Yes, we sure
next year.
did, and that's
Yeah.
a huge.
We reflected on the fall event. So as everybody might recall, we've kind of gotten into this rhythm of not doing the full-blown gala every year. That takes a lot of work and a lot of effort. So we've really gotten in a rhythm where we do one year, we'll do the full gala where everybody comes into one place, which will be at the Dream Center next year now. And then this year was a year where we still do an online auction, but we take a step back and we don't do a gala. Still really awesome levels of engagement. We had an opportunity to recognize folks at a Friday football game. And so just a really good time to reflect on the legacy of donors and the giving in the community for the foundation. We're also talking about doing some, again, legacy work as we have some really fantastic leaders rightfully stepping away for a break and thinking through what that means for the legacy of the foundation and the leadership over time. And we're working on bylaws and things to shore up just our continuity planning and that sort of thing. So really exciting things happening for the foundation.
There's something about the distinguished alumni. Is that a new or a bringing back?
Bringing back, and we'll announce in January. We'll have a whole process.
Okay,
for
so that's
that.
coming out in
So
January.
That'll be
Stay
coming out
tuned.
in January,
Okay.
yes. And a big grant that they did approve was connected to our holiday help. So our Mason Schools Foundation is providing books
Great.
for every single one of our students. When we have a really tremendous partnership with, if you're holiday shopping, we would strongly recommend from the Mason Schools Foundation that you consider the Book Bus Depot. It's a nonprofit, basically, that they've provided over $11,000 worth of books to our kids in Mason schools this year for grants for kids in need in Mason. And then if you buy from them, all the money that they make goes into giving their mission of doing that. So that's been a really cool partnership with our foundation, and we'll actually have some of them as volunteers at our holiday help, helping shoppers, because the families come and shop for their kids during our holiday help, so they'll be there to help let them know what books might be best.
That's great.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. All right, Student Achievement Committee.
Student Achievement Committee was mostly devoted to hearing the course proposals for the new courses that had their first reading tonight. I would just echo what Dr. Cooper shared. It's really, it was hearing directly from the teachers who wrote the course proposals. Dr. Buebmiller offers a lot of great support in making sure all the details are there, and we have a good solid proposal to move forward with as well. But these course proposals are just a great match, I would say, of teacher passion. They're wanting to teach this class along with student interest. So especially two of these have been ASL 3 and AP Environmental Science have been classes our students have been asking for quite some time. Cybersecurity, it's a newer offering, so we just haven't had that history. But in our first year, we had a lot of student interest. It was something we piloted this year just to kind of see what's out there. And what we saw were a lot of students really interested. And so I think that will just grow as it's more actively promoted. So I did want to recognize, so that because these really are teachers bringing it to the table. Erin Janico is the teacher who brought AP Environmental Science and shared the plan for that. Christine Lux around ASL 3 and CJ Dix for cybersecurity, and just did an excellent job of being able to share the ideas and field questions from the committee as well. And it's always great to get that feedback from the group as well. That just helped to continue to refine as we move forward. And then we also did have a chance to go and see the Dream Center in action during the school day, and hear from Erin Roberts, our Dream Center coordinator, kind of walked us around each of the spaces and talked about how they're currently being used as learning spaces and spaces for community and creation for students as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Amy. Item number 14, legislative update.
Yeah, just a couple quick items. It's sometimes lame duck is pretty just nothing going on, but we actually have lots going on right now. So just a couple of things that we're watching in conversation about. House Bill 407 is the House bill that has been proposed, and it's gone through primary and secondary education committee to basically have accountability systems that are similar for both private and public schools. That's the spirit of the bill. Public dollars go to both entities, and so they're asking for both of those to have just a similar accountability for finances and for academics. That bill, as you can imagine, has had a lot of resistance and hearings and some pushback because for different reasons. So I won't go into all those reasons, but we are at the table trying to see if there's an opportunity there for us to just have a little bit more comprehensive conversation around testing while it's on the table, and we're looking at accountability and saying instead of maybe a one-size-fits-all testing program with the technology we have today, we already have great measures in place with our MAP testing that our learning experience team has in place 3 times a year that gives us a comparison on a state and national level with both private and public schools, to be honest. It would be nice if we could have a little bit more dialogue with the state to say, is the state testing as necessary as it has always been? We still want accountability, but are there ways that we could have a menu of those options that we could start to look at so that we could get testing that we use the data for? So just so you know, Gail Manning, I talked with Bill Seitz before his term limit hit. Gail Manning is now the representative there, and and I've gone back and forth, and we'll see if it might just be planting the seed for right now. Senate Bill 29 is the one that I brought up a couple months ago. That was a bit problematic because the wording of that was the one that in 72 hours you had. So just to back up, that was the bill that was addressing tech companies, but the language also had some accountability on schools unintentionally, where they were basically, we have systems, if they're on our devices or on our Wi-Fi or our internet, that keep our kids safe. So when we have concerning things that are hitting our filters, we look into that. If it's concerning enough, then we go and we work with the family and we look into it further and we investigate it. They had some language in there that was problematic, saying every time a concerning thing hit, we were to send email communication to parents. Well, if a kid is doing a report on a certain war in history and they just say the word war or the word gun in that context, it's hitting our system all the time. And we look into it and say, okay, that's a safe way to look through those things. We wouldn't contact and send tons of emails to parents in a 72-hour period. So they changed that, and that is coming through. It was signed yesterday in House Bill 432. And that's the reason I share that with you, even though it was signed yesterday by DeWine and corrected, is because that's how having good conversations and relationships with our legislators helps, because they're the ones, as soon as I call, they say, so what do you need? We just had that conversation last night with one of our representatives, because I just randomly saw him at our community conversation last night and said, hey, House Bill 407, I need you to plant this seed. So we're fortunate that we have those good relationships at the state level, and it does make a difference. We don't get everything changed. I think the video said we just need a little bit more control, I think is what Ashley was saying in the video. I agree with her, but sometimes we don't, but we keep working on that, investing in that. So those are 2 that I'll highlight. There are others that we're watching right now closely, but those are 2 that you should just have on your radar. One's already gone through and signed, and the other one is 407 is still being talked about.
Awesome. Thank you, Jonathan.
Thanks.
Item number 15, administrator commentary.
We've already told Tanya how much we love her, and we know we'll continue to do that, but really do. And it was such an honor to even just talk with others about your legacy, because somebody said it here about how it all is a through line to the same thing. And I kept hearing that from everybody we would talk to. And it happened to me, but it happened to every one of them. There were tears as we all considered what it feels like to not just have your steadiness, but your deep integrity and your incredible heart for the right thing, just right there as the little good angel on our shoulder. And so thank you, Tanya, for the incredible legacy that you've left for all of us. And there are other people too that even on that agenda that I think of, and then I think of the seeds that you're all planting and the gift that it is to get in Tanya's case, Tanya in her office, and there are lots of people in the district who have little actual plants that came from seeds that Tanya is an incredible. And so I was sort of thinking about that and imagining that really is a piece of how we do legacy well, is you've given us those things. You've planted plants all over the district, and others are going to hope, the Carol Lamans and the Cindy Donnellys and the Regina Varans and the Tom Rapps, and even sitting here with Tom today and knowing one of his assistant coaches who was one of those runners who officiated at my own son's wedding, and knowing the kind of character he has, and he attributes so much of that to Tom too. So for all those legacy players. And another legacy, this is trying to make a segue, but another legacy that we have is our after prom. And the Nutcracker from Mason Dance Center, right downtown Mason, a great local business. Miss Bobby there for the last 22 years has given every single bit of the proceeds for the Nutcracker to our after prom. And when you see after prom and you see the legacy that does for our kids, wow. So go. You can still get tickets. I think they've added a third show, which is the first time in history. And it's really a great way to get into the holiday spirit, but also to help our kids have a safe after prom.
Thank you, Tracy.
Sorry, Christine.
Thanks for bearing
Christine's
with me today.
also my incredible partner today.
Right.
Just putting things.
The first thing I'm thankful for is
Yes.
oh my gosh. All of a sudden I didn't have sound, but I also want to pay a special tribute to Tanya. I was tearing up over here and asking for a tissue, which we didn't have any, because I've been the ostrich when it comes to her leaving and just not being able to actually even think about it, because she is just such a steady presence. And there's a phrase that's really meaningful to her: stronger than the storm. And there are many people that she has helped weather storms. Coming to HR, there are times it is not the best for people. But one of the things that you do is lead with love. And you do everything with love. And it's part of this unique ability and charm and grace that you have. And you are a wonderful friend, a wonderful colleague, a wonderful teammate, and a wonderful leader. And I will miss you so much. But I'm very happy you're coming in the spring, coming back. It makes me a little less sad, but marginally. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine.
Well, I do first want to acknowledge we had, since our last meeting, our third annual Teaching and Learning Night, and it was in the Dream Center here, which was a cool new space and environment to be able to come and celebrate all of the great learning experiences that our students get to engage in, our staff work so hard to create every day. And so I wanted to thank, there were just dozens of staff members who came to share with our families, and hundreds of family members who came to learn. And it was just a wonderful event that took lots of hands to create. So thank you to all of them. You know, families are often wanting to plan longer term, you know, not just thinking about what's next semester or next year, but like, how do I get ready for the future I really kind of want? There's so many choices, especially once you get to the high school level, which is a huge asset that we have, but there are also a lot of choices. So you need to really have a game plan. And you know, talking with both families and teachers, we had MIT families were able to go and talk to our applied tech department, our world languages, and sort of figure out, okay, so what's really the option, so that they can start to think about what could that look like for my child? And so it's just a really unique opportunity to be able to do that, and I just appreciate how much that it took from people to do that, and families taking time out of their busy nights. My biggest wonder was, are they going to come? You know, and that was, we tried so many different ways. We were using talking points, we were doing invitations, especially reaching out to new families. This is a great chance to come, and they did. So we were grateful for that and looking forward to seeing how that continues to grow. I know Tanya doesn't like that, like she probably, and had said when we did this aversion, you know, a few months ago, like that, we cannot do that again and that would be okay. But I think I can't not say anything. So sitting here thinking and watching the video and thinking, I want to be Tanya McCall when I grow up. You just are truly a role model for me, I know. Integrity, authenticity, the word steady comes up again and again, and you do that. I know for our team, for me, before I even came into this role, people who had worked with you previously who have gone on and said, oh, Tanya is going to be just amazing to work with. She is just, will be there for you, and that speaks volumes. And so I feel so lucky to have had the years that I've had to work with you and know that your legacy certainly will live on in me. So thank you for helping to grow me as a leader too.
Thank you, Amy.
Back to me again. First of all, thank you, Tracy, for putting together that awesome video. That was amazing and very surprised and greatly appreciated. I do want to take a moment just thank the board for all of your support over the years and the various boards that I've had, whether I was in the principal role or in this role. It means a lot to have great support. I appreciate the executive team. It is, I can't emphasize it enough how important it is and how great it is to have an awesome group of people to work with on a daily basis. It just makes life easier. It makes the great times better. You know, as I even think, reflecting back to our exec team meeting today, which was quite jovial and took some wild turns that just brought joy to my heart, to, you know, when we have some really difficult things that we have to work with, it's the people that you surround yourself with that make those times very bearable. So I appreciate that. And it has been an incredible 27 years at Mason City Schools, and I'm thankful for all of them.
Thank you, Tanya.
Good evening, everyone. I'd be remiss not to say a few nice words about Tanya. I've just loved working with Tanya. She understands me. And as you watched in that video, she takes time to get to know people and understand what works best for them. And I say that as it's hard to find polished professionals, and I think she just exemplifies what that polished, well-rounded professional needs to be in every area. And so, Tanya, I will say, for the rest of my life, I'll be honored to say I served with Tanya, because it has been a pleasure. In that same vein, to be able to take this time, you know, we always have fun stuff in operations. A water pipe burst. So, and it's never at the right time, 45 minutes before school gets out. I like to keep things lively for Dr. Cooper. I think that's what it is. But nonetheless, you know, watching as you walk down the hall that day, we had our firefighters, our campus security, because firefighters part of that, they're all helping get the water out of the building. They're all helping to get kids out of there so they're not trampsing through it. And then just Jerry Pennington, who is our maintenance, I call him the maintenance director, my partner. He just really shined in the way he was able to pull everything together. And I love that because Jerry takes pride in that and never wants credit. But his relationships with all of these contractors really shined on that day because I was amazed we were able to get that fixed within basically 4 hours. And I just got a email here a little while ago, the fire panel is even fixed now. So just a lot of people to thank. There's a lot of Mason quality shown in a whole lot of people all around the district. Just a cool place to be, and it was great to serve with you.
Thank you, Todd.
I also just want to congratulate Tanya, tell you how much I appreciated working with you. Wish you the best in your next season. Lots of great descriptive and accurate words that describe you tonight. Patience, humility, grace, integrity, empathy, character. The list goes on and on and on. I pulled up our culture guide, and we might need to rename this section the Tanya McCall. Needs to come up with some kind of cool word, not a staffeteria, but some kind of cool word to rename this section. But under the build meaningful relationships, it says invest the time to care, listen, and connect. Tanya, respect and encourage each other. Tanya, talk to people, not about people. Tanya. So, if there's somebody who epitomizes this part of the Common Culture Guide, it's definitely Tanya McCall. So thank you for your leadership and your example for our staff, our community. So many people have been blessed by your service. So thank you. And then also, as we head into the holiday season, I just wish everybody in the community a joyful, peaceful, restful holiday season, if that exists. But we will aim for that. So,
Thank you, Sean.
That's a good way in for that. Tanya, we do love you, but I also have to just give you a hard time for fun. If Ed was here, he'd give you a hard time. So I feel like someone's got to fill that a little bit. 37 years, 1987. We just want to travel back to 1987 just for a minute. Just because there's some people in the room might not know what 1987 was like. So for those that are younger in the room, a lot of us were born in the 1900s. And in 1987, Tanya kicked off a beautiful career that we're talking about tonight. So some of the things that were going on, people were tuning into cassette tapes at that time. Cassette tapes were things that you actually plugged in, and then you would listen, and then you would flip it over, and you would listen to the other side. I don't know if you remember that. VHS, remember those? The VHS, rewind them before you return them. It's kind of a big deal. Some may.
Be kind.
I don't know if
rewind.
you've reminded. Be kind and rewind. IBM computers, the personal computers, were now making their way into homes for the first time. So personal computers were moving from company level to homes for the first time. Teachers were relying on these things called overhead projectors. It's interesting. One of the retirees made an announcement with overhead projector that we saw tonight. She had saved it around for that
That's awesome.
special video that we got to see. Mobile phones were actually starting to become around. They were the size of a brick, and they were very rare. At that time, Wi-Fi and internet was something people didn't even know that would exist. That was kind of in a sci-fi video. Space shuttle program was just resuming after the Challenger tragedy. Ronald Reagan was the president at the time. And the average home, new home, and we were just talking homes earlier that are just a little different now, but average home cost in the U.S. at that time was about $92,000 when you started your career. And then handwritten notes was a big way that people communicated back then. They would hand notes to each other with handwriting and cursive, and you have cursive writing that you put in your notes, and some of us can read that, and some of us, as the younger generation, I don't know what she wrote, but it looks really nice. I can read it. But yes, it's very beautiful. But Tanya, thank you so much. We'll continue this ongoing conversation and care for you, and give some. I have some pictures we didn't put in tonight that will potentially maybe show up as we go on. We had some good times. We went to Nashville together once, and we drove a Lincoln together. We just good memories that we'll bring up later and laugh about together. But Tanya, we just love you so much. A couple other, the ops team, I'll just transition our ops team. Thank you, Todd. Not only are they helping with fixing pipes and moving things, but getting buses there quickly to get kids home safely. And we've had some early mornings that we've had to go out and just double check. And that's always a little bit tricky because you're getting up real early, double checking, and then there's nothing there. What do? Well, you just go to work. It's really early. So I thank them for their hard work and showing up. I always appreciate that. Sean just mentioned, well, first of all, Tanya, back to you. Just one more thing. I did write down everything we're renaming. Okay, so I did get that down. Some in the culture guide, I think the middle school, we'll make sure. We have a sign out there. It says Mason Moment. We could easily make an adjustment there. And then last thing, Sean mentioned, just enjoy the holidays. Holiday season's coming up. We have really talked a lot about just the gift of, we talk about presence a lot, but the idea of presence and just being present with people and how important that is. And Tanya's modeled that along the way. In the hard times and the good times, she has been present. And that is a hard thing to do in our world today with all the social media and all the things pulling you different directions. So give that gift to people. Be present. Thanks.
Thank you, Jonathan. Next item on our agenda, board commentary. Matt?
Yeah, just wanted to reflect again on the retirements we had tonight. It's interesting as you're your own kids kind of grow up through the district, and how close one of mine is getting to have some of those teachers, and now I'm seeing they're coming off the board, and it just makes me really sad as a parent, and sad for all the families who won't get to experience these teachers in the classroom. But equally, I'm grateful for the legacy. We keep talking about legacy that they have all left. And my neighbor Cindy Donnelly will have even more time to keep her yard meticulous with her husband. So I'm going to tell her that I expect it to be even more beautiful than it is today. I'll report back on how that's going after she's done. And I just wanted to say I'm really grateful for the opportunity to help and to contribute to the holiday help. What a really cool way for our community to come together and serve our own students in need, and provide a meaningful holiday experience. So thank you to everybody who has donated, all the people who put in so much time and effort to make this happen. And thank you to everybody else, everybody who's going to help us get this to the finish line over the next couple of days. So really excited about that. And I don't know, is anybody else as surprised as I am that we are almost halfway done with the school year? I mean, I know time flies faster as you get older, and I know, goodness gracious, that I'm getting older, but this half of the year flew by. And so I just want to say to all of our families and our staff, you have earned a break. Take this break. Enjoy your time with your family. Happy holidays. Again, may it bring you peace and a fantastic time to reset with your families. Thanks.
Thank you, Matt. Connie?
You know, Jonathan, you mentioned our dream centers tonight, and we're going to have a site manager in there because we have some demand. I have been hearing chatter all over the community, folks that I'm not sure how they really found out about these dream centers, but someone talked to them and told them, and they're asking questions, and we have had so much interest and excitement. People really stepping up to use the facilities. We may have to build another one pretty soon. Everybody wants one with some access. So I'm thrilled with that. I'm thrilled with that, honestly.
Just hold on that, Todd, till we check the finances.
Settle down, Todd.
I'm texting Jim now.
Well,
I love it.
in due time, in an
It's
appropriate
good,
way,
it's good.
whatever. But no, I'm really excited about that. That's something that I'm seeing across other places in the district, not just the students in that building, every day. So that's kind of neat. Yeah, and Tanya, I just can't really say anything else other than thank you. You're really leaving a fantastic mark. We will absolutely miss you, but you've been a great example, and you've shared your gift, your talent, and I feel confident in our future with that, but thank you. And other than that, I'd just like to wish everyone a happy holiday season and a great start to the new year with families.
Thank you, Connie. Ian?
It's been like a really celebratory week. I had my daughter's birthday on the 5th. My mom's birthday is today. My aunt's birthday is today. My brother-in-law's birthday is today. And we celebrated Tanya McCall. Again, just there aren't words, but just know that you're appreciated and that you will leave a void that we will try to fill. And we will always go back to but Tanya did it this way. And so, but there will be someone who steps up and all of the things that you've done will help them take that thing to the next level. And so that's really a cool thing to think about. Want to wish everyone a happy holiday. I love the comment help, Mason helps, because we help each other. The holidays can be a joyful time, but for some it can be overwhelming and hard. So, be kind, be thoughtful, take care of one another. Take a break if you can. It's not, I love that it's not always about the presence, it's about presence, because you are a gift and your life is a gift and it impacts. If there's one thing that we saw in this room today is what the impacts of an individual life can do for others. As you go through this time together, be mindful that everybody you come across is a gift and is loved. Treat each other that way, and we'll be all right. So that's what I got.
All right, well, thank you, Ian. And Tanya, again, thank you for all of the years that you have poured into this district. Excited that you won't be gone. We'll get to see you around still, and we'll get to still celebrate with you and send you off properly this spring. I want to just take a minute, since this is our last board meeting of 2024, to reflect on my gratitude for the work that we've accomplished this year as a district, and just kind of, we get to see a little slice of it every time we have a board meeting. It feels like we're celebrating a different team and thinking back. I don't want to miss anybody, but just trying to rack my brain this year, we celebrated a track and field indoor state champion beginning of this season. Got to hear from some great athletes early on in the year. We got to celebrate another ultimate Frisbee team championship. We got to celebrate another tennis team championship this year. We got to celebrate another cross country team championship tonight. I think the most probably excited for the community standpoint was the baseball team bringing the first baseball state championship to Mason. Hard to believe with the success that program's had over the years and how many guys have found their way to the major leagues, that was the first state championship that team has achieved. But still a very awesome moment for our community to kind of rally and get behind a team that season. We were also excited to see the XLP program present at the Ohio School Boards Association meeting this past month, and to just see how that has really just blown up and scaled out to impact so many students in our high school, connecting with so many businesses in our community, providing really, really cool and meaningful internships, work experiences, connections, networking opportunities, and see those kids present and demonstrate how that program has lifted them up and accelerated their future plans and their career decision making. See them kind of take questions and answers from leaders all across the state of Ohio, trying to see how they can take what we do here in Mason back to their communities and implement it there. We got to welcome a new high school principal to the largest high school in the state this fall, and have really enjoyed seeing Ben Brown make his presence felt in the Mason community. He looks great in green. Feel like you see him out everywhere and doing everything that makes it great to be here in Comic Country. So it's been awesome to add another leader of his caliber to our district. We were excited at the opportunity this year to close another collective bargaining agreement with our beloved teachers and staff in the Mason Education Association, as well as some of our other unions, and excited for the stability and the structure that it'll give us for another 3 years. And another hat tip and appreciation for the calendar committee and the people that have put those calendars into place so that families can make some plans long-term over the next couple years. We celebrated the opening of debt-free dream centers in our high school, in our early childhood center, in our elementary school, in our intermediate school. And those have really just begun to show us how we can use that space as a community center for gathering and for innovation and collaboration, and to, again, sort of open up our Comic Country resources to other communities, other districts, and to watch them take those ideas and those plans back to their communities and see how they can kind of model that for their communities is really neat and rewarding to see. And we're just getting started with those, and I'm excited to see how down the road and for years to come, those dream centers will pay dividends to our Comet students, teachers, staff, family members, community members, and just the greater Mason community, whether you have a kid in our building or whether you just happen to live here or do business here. And you know, not last but certainly not least, to say that, you know, we definitely value and prioritize academic excellence and you know, just kind of growing and mentoring the whole student as they make their way through kindergarten and all the way through high school. You know, it is not the end goal by any means, but it is a byproduct and a validation of all the things that we have going in our district when we see an outside, you know, entity or publication like the niche rankings putting Mason as the #2 district in all of Ohio, the highest ranking we've ever achieved as a district. Again, it's something that it doesn't come as a surprise when we know the kind of people and the kind of talent like we're celebrating here tonight, the work that people like Tanya McCall do, the work like Coach Rapp does. It comes as no surprise, but it is still a reward to see the great things we know going on in this district validated by outsiders in the outside world. So when I think of all of those things that have come to pass this year, it's been a lot. I get a rush of blood to the head a little bit when I'm like jamming it all into just one night, but it is just a very, very gratifying and rewarding year to bring to a conclusion here tonight. And I'm just very grateful to have the opportunity to serve alongside my board members here tonight, as well as Desiree, who couldn't make it here tonight, but we know is watching from home, and we miss her. And just very, very grateful and appreciative to be able to bring this year to a close, and looking forward to a happy and healthy 2025. Wishing everybody Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, any other holidays that you may celebrate this holiday season, and a Happy New Year to all. So with that, I will move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.